Why that is it a difficulty thing? Is it because I'm in extreme mode? This is the only obstacle to change under those conditions, so what's up with that? There's still a degree of familiarity with some levels, just to make that clear, but this alone makes Extreme 2 feel more unique than Extreme 1, and now you can play as both X and Zero this time around. Zero is once again about close quarters combat and utilizing special techniques you can acquire from defeated bosses. If you played the PS1 games, you should have an idea of what you're getting into, but if you ask me, this is a bit of a downgrade. While Zero can dish out the pain, his range is pathetic. Too often I find myself taking collision damage because I have to get closer than usual to enemies to take them out. This becomes less of an issue when I find armor upgrades to increase my defense and increase the power of my saber, but early game with Zero can be borderline irritating. Like, I'm glad he's here, but it can be a little rough. Like X5, I find the game better with X, given that he can take care of many problems from a distance. But a cool thing with Extreme 2 as you progress is that you eventually get the ability to switch between X and Zero on the fly with a push of a button. Now, I ended up using X for the majority of my playtime because, again, Zero takes some patience to work with. This is basically like having 2 health bars, and great for when you need a certain strategy against the boss, because, man, against this asshole, you need that sort of shit. Seriously, fuck this guy. Who designed this dickhead? The guys who made Mega Man and Base? But if switching between both heroes wasn't good enough for you, there's also the parts you can buy in the shop. You know, I'm surprised it took me this long to wonder why the part system in X5 and X6 weren't handled like the upgrades in Mega Man 8. It makes perfect sense for this kind of game. Like, this is how parts should have been handled from the get-go, so major kudos to Extreme 2 for handling it this way. So the DNA souls are not just a story thing, they're also something you can collect in-game, and every enemy drops them. They not only act as energy and ammo pickups, but they're also currency for parts you can buy from Iris. Stronger shots, increased invincibility frames. Hell, if you collect enough souls, you can also just straight up buy the complete set of armor upgrades if you don't feel like hunting down light capsules. I don't think they're that taxing to find. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you need to have the full set of armor this time to even finish the game. Some of the level design in the final area requires things like the air dash to get across obstacles, which is normally never the case, and kind of falls into X6 level of bullshit, just not as severe. So take it from me, go after those light capsules and save those DNA souls for other stuff, because fuck me if some of these aren't ridiculous. I just want to say this right now, I have no idea what kind of utility the other weapons have. I mean, I did use some of them for Maverick weaknesses, but once I upgraded the power of my default weapon, I'm not kidding here, that was all I needed. Yep, even against bosses, the damage output was insane for both characters, and with the right combination of parts, specifically with X, you can become an unstoppable killing machine. Give it a try, both of the Buster upgrades with Ultimate Buster and Speed Shot, and turn on the rapid fire mode in the options menu, Jesus, nothing can stop you, not even Sigma. Extreme 2 is split between 2 missions, one with X and one with Zero. Each of them have their own set of bosses to take care of, all returning from X1, X2, and now we got some X3 bosses thrown into the fray. And though X and Zero's scenarios both have their beginning, middle, and end, with Gareth and Berkana acting as the final bosses, the true final boss, Sigma, can only be taken down by completing the game's extreme mode, unlocked by completing both missions, where, once again, you have to face against all 8 Mavericks instead of just 4, like a traditional Mega Man X game. If you're playing extreme mode, then once again you have to consider which character gets hard tanks and all this, since they aren't shared like in X5. But thankfully it isn't possible to lose Zero this time because of shitty luck, so don't worry if you decide to just stick to one character. If I ever go back to Extreme 2, I think I'll just jump straight into extreme mode, since I see no point in playing the previous missions when this is just the 2 combined, plus an extra boss. Extreme 2 is easily better than Extreme 1. I'm not saying that Extreme 1 isn't worth its $5 price tag, but Extreme 2 has way more bang for its buck, and offers more than just being a rehash. I mean, it still reuses Mavericks and has a similar look and feel to the SNES games, but level design is more original, the part system is better implemented here than in the console games I find, giving you an easy edge in combat, and having access to both X and Zero in real time makes gameplay more versatile, even if I do think Zero's saber could be a bit longer. Once again, you can find these both on the 3DS Virtual Console for $5. Go and get them if you're looking for a nice little 8-bit distraction. But alright, I really gotta try and get these next videos done before October. These months come and go so fast. So I'm just gonna immediately head into the next game for the marathon, Mega Man X7 for the PlayStation 2. Well, it was originally PlayStation 2. I'm gonna be looking at the Legacy Collection version for next time, and I hope we don't get any audio stuttering or lag. I doubt it, but you never know this sort of thing. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. Weakness, so you make them weak. If you want the full challenge, then stick to your default weapon. But in X7, you either don't have enough ammo to finish the boss off, or the weapon itself sucks against the boss, period. My default weapon ended up being the weapon of choice for most, if not all, of these guys, and let me tell you, man, this game is just a mile a minute. These guys take so long to kill, and you gotta do it twice because of the traditional boss rush near the end of the game. And yeah, some of these guys love to talk, but not in the endearing sort of way. Even if you never played Mega Man X7, you probably knew someone who brought up Flame High in art. No? Well, I'm sorry, but... Just listen to that. Listen to that. Did nobody think that sounded broken? I turned the volume down because I got so annoyed with it. And yeah, I definitely heard it beforehand, but fuck. Technically, I stress, there isn't much wrong as far as the game structure goes. Nothing's broken, except him. But the things that are wrong end up affecting the whole feel of the game. control, specifically 2D sections, it's what I expect from past experiences. I could jump just fine, I could shoot just fine, but then comes wall jumping, and I don't know, something feels off. The way I snap back towards the wall leaves my control feeling herky-jerk, and a couple of times I found myself getting stuck on the edge of the floor. When the game transitions into 3D, that's when things get downright problematic. X7 is old school when it comes to camera control. Instead of using the right analog stick, you have to use the shoulder buttons to turn the camera. What's the right analog stick used for? Switching weapons. I can't help but feel someone accidentally got those two functions reversed. I can accommodate for it. I've played plenty of platformers with shoulder button cameras, but I can't do shit about the times I gotta deal with a fixed camera. It's either too close or the angle given just blows. And stages like when Crow hangs, it's both. You have to jump across these planes high in the sky, but this angle fucks up my depth perception. I can't tell if the plane is on the same level or higher up. And sometimes when I'm on the wings, my jump just doesn't work. Like, what the fuck happened there? If I had a free-range camera here, this wouldn't be too much of an issue, but that isn't the case. And every time you die here, you have to watch the same cutscene if you entering the stage over and over again, as if this game wasn't dragging enough. But that's why I dislike about the 3D sections the most. It's not the control, it's not just the camera, it's that they're so uninteresting. The 3D space really puts emphasis on how slow your default movement speed is. So when I can get away with it, I dash at every opportunity just to move things along. There are times where the 3D environment gives you plenty to explore. In fact, I quite enjoyed those moments where I could wall jump in 3D to find hidden stuff off screen. And every time you see something suspicious in the distance, it most likely has a hostage to rescue that has a chip upgrade. So give your dash a workout and go for it. So those are few and far between, because sometimes they can be overly expansive with nothing to show for it. They can have pathways that end up being just as linear as the 2D sections, making the whole dimensional shift feel needless. Or sometimes their entire gimmick is so bland. The ride bike section and ride Borski, it's just there. You pick up some bombs, you rescue some hostages, but for some reason can't turn 180 degrees. Fucking hell, the first level and the final stretch goes on forever, with the steamroller thing slowly making its way towards you. And it's pretty bad when SpongeBob's Night of the Robot is more appealing than this auto-scroller. Well guys, I definitely see what I've been missing, and I'm happy to say it wasn't much. Mega Man X7 is often considered to be the worst of the bunch, and I'm inclined to agree, but only because I absolutely despise how slow and forgettable it is. You know, Mega Man X6 is a broken shit show, as I pointed out, but it doesn't take forever, nor does it feel like it takes forever to just finish the game. I stress, though, that's only when you know how the game works, because it still has a shitload going against it, like these assholes in Blaze Heat next stage. Mega Man X7, it takes forever to get going, takes forever to go through menus, takes forever to clear the 8 stages, takes forever to kill things. It's too slow for its own good, and a game that bores me is a game that fails. Mega Man X7, while not a technical train wreck, is boring, and what else can I say after that? I'll tell you what, 2 more games left for this marathon, that's what I'll tell you, and the next game is, we're at this point already, but it's the last traditional Mega Man X game. And once again, I'll be heading to unfamiliar territory when I take a look at Mega Man X8 for the PlayStation 2. And once again, I will be looking at the Legacy Collection version on the PS4, just to let you guys know. With all that said, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. An extensive multimedia lineup ranging from action figures, models, and even comic books. Let's just go ahead and take a look at X in this video. If his helmet were any bigger, he'd be a dead ringer for Dark Helmet, goddamn. And come on, I know X doesn't like fighting, but this comic cover literally has him shedding a tear. What the fuck is this? But on the gameplay side of things, you have all these achievements you can try to unlock for every game, giving you some additional replay value, and that's all good. And as I mentioned before, Legacy Collection also gives you Rookie Hunter mode, which you can turn on and off at any time. It beefs up your defenses and power to make the game easier to complete. I think it's good for those looking to get into the games, but always found the difficulty too intimidating. In my case, it means I can actually play the beginning of X2 without having to worry about dying in 2 hits. Check it, this is the damage you take in the original. Fuck. And this is what you take when you have Rookie Hunter mode turned on. Yeah, much better. Rookie Hunter mode also ensures that spikes just damage you now instead of outright killing you, and it selectively makes you invulnerable to bottomless pits. I don't know, it seems to be more of a thing for the PS1 games than in the Super Nintendo entries, because I can fall down pits in X6 just fine, and in X1 I still fall to my doom. It's odd. Out of curiosity, I booted up X5 with Rookie Hunter mode turned on, and immediately fired the Eclipse Cannon before fighting any Mavericks to skip straight to the final stages. Keep in mind, that's a 32% success rate, but here it worked without a hitch. Now, I don't know if that was because of Rookie Hunter mode or I just got extremely fucking lucky, but I did find that amusing. I never actually got the cannon to work before, so it feels weird seeing this cutscene for myself for the first time here. The X challenge is the biggest selling point of the Legacy Collection. I didn't spend much time on it, but the idea is great. It's you as Mega Man X going against 2 Mavericks at the same time. It's only Mavericks from X1 through X6, and some are left out of the challenge entirely, sadly. But it is the ultimate test for veteran Mega Man X players. You're only allowed to bring 3 weapons from a predetermined selection, and it's up to you to make them last throughout the challenges given. There's a bit of graphical clashing here and there, namely when you're going against a Super Nintendo Maverick and a PlayStation Maverick at the same time, like it's clear who's from what era. And X's new custom sprite is just flat out ugly. Like, where did all his shading go? It's so flat in appearance. You're also only allowed to play as X for this, so Zero fans are going to be disappointed if he's a favorite of the bunch. I do think that was a boneheaded exclusion. The man's been playable for years and he doesn't even get a spot here. But again, I didn't spend much time on this because, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're facing off against two Mavericks at once and it requires a shitload of finesse to even complete it. It's for the tougher than nails Mega Man fans. I did play a couple of these stages on easy just to see the challenges ahead, and dear God, I dread doing some of these on normal or hard. File Mark 2 and high max at the same time? Look at this, it's a fucking mess. But who knows, maybe I can make a live stream series out of completing the X challenge on normal and hard one day, but it ain't gonna be now because, fuck. I'd say start with Volume 1 of the Legacy Collection, and if you really enjoyed yourself, then you should consider getting Volume 2. There's not much to salvage from Volume 2, but there are good things about it. X5 and X8 are perfectly playable entries. But I think that only matters if you like what you played before and you want to get more out of it in some fashion. Either way, Legacy Collection offers plenty to do for your money's worth, so I recommend it. They're not all winners, but some of them are my favorites in high-speed 2D action. So go and get some Mega Man X action going on your console or your computer, or get it on the Switch so you can have it at home and on the go. Go ahead and do it. Don't make X cry now. And if Mega Man X9 happens, when Mega Man X9 happens, I'll be glad to sit on my ass here and see how the series moves forward. But we're still not done. There's one more game, one more Mega Man X Command Mission. I don't know how or why Capcom somehow got an RPG out of this whole thing. This was technically released before Mega Man X8, so I know some of you thought I should have covered this first for chronology's sake, but I don't know, going from an RPG and then back to the traditional formula just seemed odd to me, so we're saving the spin-off for last. I have no idea what to expect from this. I've never played this before, so here's hoping the marathon ends on a high note. We'll find out next time. With that said, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.